Game 7, used ticket, 91 World Series. This is the moment I fell in love with sport. Got the chair that she sat in, right? Like Caitlin sat in this specific chair. They kind of hooked me up. I got the key to the city. Look at the seat and the row number. Row 1, seat 1, right?
Welcome back into Mantle Quality Stories. My name is Buster. We have DJ Skee here. Welcome, my friend. We're gonna be showing off 5 items, 5 from each of our collections, maybe a couple more. You wanna show off your first item here?
Dude, let's do it. What do you want to start with? You want to start big, small? Like, what are you thinking?
Let's start small. Let's build up.
Okay. I'll showcase this. This is really cool because it's unique. So, Game Used Baseball, September 14th, 2022. Angels versus Guardians. What's interesting about this, so it's from MLB's authentication program, which is the best in the industry, the only sports league right now until we at the Realists come in and do witness-based authentication. So it's not relying on photo matching or anything else. And what's unique about this baseball, it seems like a rather unremarkable game, right? Angels, Guardians. In baseball, they change the ball every time the ball basically hits the dirt. So this one was actually used by both Mike Trout, or pitched to both Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, which is so they didn't change the ball. And what happened? Trout line drive, I think center field out, and then the next pitch or 2 pitches later, it didn't hit the dirt. They never changed the ball. Shohei Ohtani double. So it's one of the few baseballs, believe it or not, even though they batted back and forth, that has both of them on it. Really, really rare, unique in provenance, and it goes kind of the quality of baseball, tracking every single pitch and showing what it is, and having 2 of the greatest players of all time getting a hit, or basically hitting the same ball. You can see the marks and stuff. So really cool, unique item, especially like not a lot of people would catch it, but for those that are deep in it, you'll love it. So we got to start off light.
That's really cool. I like that. Yeah, I wonder. I'm sure someone out there, maybe AI can do the math on how many times the same baseball was used to pitch to them. It might be a 1 of 1. Who knows?
It really is, because usually, like, if it's a hit, if it hits the dirt, right, they're changing the ball. And usually, like, there's very few line drive outs, and then the fact that there was no pitch in the dirt that Ohtani got, like, that it went there, there's not many out there. It could be a 1 of 1. I think there's probably a couple, but rare piece, especially now that they're not on the same team.
That's very cool. All right. So my biggest collection, and I try to show one from in every episode, is my original SpongeBob art collection.
Ooh, that's sick. Where'd you grab that?
Well, I've been buying them for the last couple years. So the first season of the show was painted by hand. Only the first season, and then they went to digital. So all the backgrounds are 1 of 1 painted by hand, and most of them are just of the sky or dirt. And this one's actually pretty cool because it is the opening scene. It says somewhere BG number 1 somewhere in there. And that means that it was the first background.
That's fire. That's a good one.
Episode. I love this stuff. I grew up watching it. I was born in 2000. The show debuted in 99, so it was my whole childhood. And then now looking back, the fact that there are so few and that they're all hand-painted 1 of 1 works of art that are recognized by probably billions of people around the world, that makes it special to me.
That's really cool, man. I love it.
Cool. You want to show off your next item?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's see. You know what? I'm going to do a grouping thing. So at therealist.com, we use, again, talking about witness-based authentication, we're deploying the same program where we have people on site watching items be used, and they don't let it leave line of sight if they won't authenticate it. And we just did it for the Big Ten college basketball tournament for both the men and women. And that's so special because it's the first time the tournament sold out for a women's game. Caitlin Clark obviously set the all-time record for scoring in college basketball. It might be the greatest, not only women's, but college basketball player in history. And we've authenticated a bunch of items. So not only do we have things like confetti that we had enough of that we could sell individually. So men's, right, Illinois. We have the women's right here from Iowa, pregame used basketball. And what's cool about it is you see the emblems, Big Ten tournament, you see the logo on it. And the fact that, Caitlin touched this pregame, right? Like, of what could be one of the bigger highlights of her career. And other cool things, right? Like the cut nets, right? You can see those all authenticated with stickers that we literally took on site from it. The net itself, which to me is like a grail item, game used
That's
from
really
that.
cool.
Really cool. What else there? Dude, they got the chair that she sat in, right? Like Caitlyn sat in this specific chair. And it's just really cool thing. It has great, like, it's really easy to display. If you're a fan, you can put it in your office. I've had Metrodome seats in my office forever. So, like, some of these things are really usable. They just look aesthetically really nice. And again, witness-based provenance is the best. Obviously, selfishly, I found it the realest. To do that as a collector, I wanted to take the quality of that up because most items are kind of just, you know, oh, I got this from so-and-so, and there's no science and data behind it. We use actually real science and data. So, yeah, I thought that'd be a fun thing to showcase before they leave. Oh, and these are so cool, right? The scissors she used to cut down the net. Like,
That's
I didn't
fun.
even know they had special scissors with it. I'm actually going to be bidding on these because I want to win this. So you're going to be bidding against me if you're going after those.
Yeah, that's definitely my favorite out of the lot. That must have been a partnership between the scissor company and the NCAA.
Wild, right? Yeah, it says Fiskars on it. I actually have no idea. We did a partnership directly with the Big Ten. We only work with the source. We don't take third-party items. That's how we have our authenticators on the floor during the game, watching and literally collecting them, marking them from it. But yeah, I had no idea they actually put the champions on that. It just looks real. It's one of those unique pieces. Like that's what I love, especially like some of these pieces of memorabilia, right? Like it's the stories and the craziness and the fact that we can have it. You can create a whole series on talking through this stuff.
100%. All right, my next
What you
item.
got?
It's I'm doing a little bit of a bundle. This is the Leonardo da Vinci note and the Mona Lisa note. One is from Italy in 1972, and one is from Costa Rica in 1931.
Why Costa Rica?
I have no idea. I think they wanted just to be attached to the culture. They wanted to be like, we're cool too. And they're the only country that ever put Mona Lisa on currency, Costa Rica.
That's wild.
In 1930. And
What
then
a find.
obviously,
See, that's what I love. That's a great find.
yeah, there's about, I think there's like 100 of these out there, and then there's a couple hundred of these because they're Italian and more recent. But the high grades of these actually sell for quite a lot. I love those notes.
That's amazing. That's really sick, dude. I love it.
All right, you're up next.
Let's see. What do we got? And I got so much stuff, Buster. Let's share. You know what? Let's take it back. Tickets. I got a couple tickets. Both are kind of personal to me, right? Both kind of Minnesota related. Game 7. I think Darren Ravel gave me these, so shout out to him. But Game 7, used ticket, 91 World Series. This is the moment I fell in love with sports. I was at this game. This isn't my ticket, but graded by PSA Authentic. Just looks so cool. Great eye appeal. This one was my actual ticket that I sent in. What's cool is, you know, this is the year the Super Bowl was in Minnesota. I do all the work with the Vikings. I thought we were going to make it. We lost in Philly after the miracle catch with Diggs. But what's so cool about this seat is, because it's my hometown, they kind of hooked me up. I got the key to the city. Look at the seat and the row number. Row 1, seat 1, right? So
Wow.
the fact that I had that seat at that game in my hometown, right? Like in the middle of field, like just incredible. And although it was disappointing going and not watching my team, and it's still so cool to be there. And the fact that it was that seat number to me was special. So never selling that.
I think that's so cool. Speaking of iconic characters, I just love characters that billions of people worldwide immediately recognize. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? SpongeBob. Who says dough and likes donuts? Homer Simpson. The one and only. Just a clean sketch from Matt Groening, the creator, with a little bit of text bubble that says off-model man, which is making fun of how people would say that he would draw it incorrectly and not to scale. So that's a cool one. Dated 2014. He actually does a lot of like sketches at like Comic Cons and things like that. He's pretty fan friendly, but I had to have a clean one in the collection. I love iconic characters.
He's the guy. I got a small story on that. So I one time went to a Simpsons reading on the Fox lot back in the day, where they basically did a reading of the show before they do it to kind of run through and go through that. I went with my friend and who hooked us up, and the guy that I went with, afterwards we got to keep a copy of the script, which is so cool. He went up to Matt, who, like you said, is so friendly, and he not only signed it, but did a sketch. My biggest regret is I was too cool, so I didn't want to ask him for that, right? And my other friend didn't give a care, right? So I was like, I don't have it. I wish I had him sign that and do the sketch because it would have been so much cooler. I still have the script somewhere, but it's not signed. My friend has the one that's there. So you're bringing back some regret right now, Buster.
No, the truth is, I could never ask. I could never ask.
I didn't want to be that guy, and also like I have my ego at the time, which sucked, right? So I'm like, fuck, like who am I to like, yeah. But one day, Matt, but he was the friendliest guy. It was so fun. Everybody there was amazing. It was a really fun experience just to see that. So it lives in my mind. But yeah, it could have been such an iconic piece, and I would have been showing it off here with you.
It's such a funny conversation though about like, do you be that guy or do you not be that guy in those situations? And in the moment, no one wants to be that guy. And even sometimes after, I mean, you sometimes don't even want to have been that guy. But man, shout out to those guys who are willing to ask.
Let's go. Yeah, exactly. Put your pride to the side.
All right, you're up next.
My turn. What are we at? 2 more, right?
Yep, 2 more.
We've got to do bundles. So I was gonna do this, but I'm gonna actually showcase some of my stuff. So one of my favorite cards ever signed, Griffey Mantle card. This one
Classic.
is Upper Deck '94. That's one of my favorites, probably my favorite baseball series. But that's not what I was gonna showcase. I'm gonna showcase to me personal things that are important. Cards that I designed. I did Project 70 with Topps. I've done my own like different collabs and stuff, and these are a couple really cool ones. I just did one with Blake Corum from University of Michigan where I DJ. He signed this. It's a dual auto by, it's kind of cool because I was able to sign it on the back, witness-based,
cool.
obviously, realist. Did the design on the front of him like Wolverine style. He signed it. Loved Blake, such a good guy. With eBay years ago, I partnered up with the National. We did this like Kanye-inspired card series, 4 cards, 4 athletes. This is the hockey one, and when you look at the front, man, this is so cool. I did it in exchange for auto. So this was Patrick Kane, 808s. And if you see, he's number 88, like it lined up, 808s and Heartbreaks type cover. It says 808 on it, but he signed it. And it says 808s and hat tricks. So Patrick Kane, 88. Which, somebody hit me that was doing a signing with Patrick, and he's like, hey, I'll get him to sign one for you if you send me a couple signed ones. So fair trade. One of the coolest ones in my collection, especially because of the personalization and the inscription. And then just one of my favorite cards I did. This one was like the highest selling card I ever sold. Like these were selling for $8,000 at one point. I did a series with PSA 10 and just my regular Topps card that I numbered in special ink out of 10. And this is when Ohtani started blowing up. So I kept one of them. This one's number 9 out of 10. Dual 10, the card got graded 10, the auto is 10, numbered out of 10. We did this series, but it was just such a fun moment, especially because that's when Shohei was really, really coming out, and it's my highest value card I've ever made. So not signed by him. I got to get him to sign it, but yeah, still a fun project.
That's really cool, and that must have been a lot of pressure for you to put a clean 10 signature on that kind of a card.
So it's actually interesting. I did a partnership with PSA, and they are so strict on it, right? Like in terms of the grades. One, we had to go through, like I had to bring them a couple hundred Topps cards to find ones that would grade a 10. So what we would do is find like 20 that they would kind of pre-grade as a 10. They'd go through them and grade them before they encapsulated them. And then I'd have to go sign them. They'd watch me sign them. We'd do it with special ink. And they'd make sure like the streaks and the signatures were right. Not all of them passed. So we'd sign like 20 of them, they'd approve them, and then we'd serialize them after, and then that's how we got to them. So there was a lot of wasted ones that we went through and looking for that. So it wasn't like I just came in with 10 cards and they did it, and because we're homies and because I'm who I am, they did it. No, they went through like the same strict process, even to the point where there was times I had to come back or sometimes for some of the cards we'd have to bring more in. So it really was impressive the quality that they did on the grading side.
So life on the line, you don't think you could give me a 10?
I could. I've done it enough now. We did it for every card in the series, so. But I wouldn't. You have to have an upside. Like that's not the real. I'm not gonna put you on the. I'm not gonna put life on the line for my signature. But yeah, I've only got 4 characters, right? So it's easy.
No, it's a lot of pressure. There are some athletes though that just do a phenomenal job of just spitting out 10s.
Dude, it's crazy. And it made me realize too is an art, like I've been a collector, but when you're actually doing it, it's not easy, right? Like to get them right, make them look good, and you have to use the right, like even the right pins. We'd go through so many pins. That was one of the challenges too. Depending on the color in the card, pins vary so much, even color to color. I have the deepest pin collection in the game right now, so.
100%. All right, this next item, I love one-of-one items that are tied to historically significant characters, people, all sorts of stuff. This popped up in an auction. It is the ticket, the only one in the world, the only one that has ever come up to Dave Chappelle's first special.
What? What year? What is that?
This is 1997, and it was an HBO half hour. And this is a ticket to the studio filming that is that special. There must have only been 200 people in the audience. This popped up somehow. There's an ad for like a vintage photograph, like print out photograph company on the back. Yeah, it's the only one to Dave Chappelle. I'd love to give it to him. I want to give it to him. I don't,
Dude, that's so sick.
He should have this, not me, and I'd give it to him.
That's so sick.
But yeah, I love one stuff like that.
That's so sick. I love it, man. It's amazing.
All right, you've got one more?
All right, I'm going to end this a bang. So I'm going to kind of group a couple just to go through. We're not going to show them all, but I love, like, you see behind me, right? Like, I've got it on here. So I wanted to showcase, like, Snoop Dogg Gin and Juice signed Snoop 94 jersey. This one's really cool. I just showcased this, the Marty McFly Back to the Future vest. Right here is really cool. From the Academy Awards, Andrea, whoops, let's see if we can get it on here. Andrea Bocelli's suit that he wore. And you guys will love this. Let's see. Music memorabilia, Post Malone, stage used. He used this at TSX.
That's cool.
We've got the Jeff Hamilton jacket Kobe wore. This is actually Snoop's copy of it, but when he took that iconic photo, doing something big with Snoop, so you might see.
The jacket?
Not the one Kobe wore. This was Snoop's version of it. It was a limited Jeff Hamilton jacket. So the fact that Kobe wore it and Snoop and Kobe were so close, like, it's a really cool thing. There's going to be something big coming up with Snoop and the Realest soon. But I want to end it, like, if I'm going to talk about one piece of clothes. So I know somebody involved in this is Alexis, right?
Yep.
And you had him on, I think. Did he do the first show with you?
Debut episode.
Debut episode. So I had to dig in the stash and found from 2016, 2017 this WTA player warm-up tennis top and pants from Serena, right? So I think the greatest athlete of all time, Serena. Just what she's done is phenomenal.
Definitely.
So full outfit. You can see like the sample tags, custom athlete, right? All those things. So just a great piece of memorabilia, especially because I've always been a Nike kid. She was obviously the face of Nike for so many years. So I figured this would be the perfect place to show that off. And Alexis, if you want it, it's yours. You guys can have it. You probably have enough other things. But yeah, I figured that would be the fitting grand finale, given that we're on Mantle, but still like such a cool piece. And I think so many game-used, stage-used items, especially clothing, is so undervalued compared to cards and things where you're seeing a rookie patch selling for more than the jersey itself is why I think that there'll be more of a balance over the years. So that's why I've been kind of quietly for years snatching those things up. I think they're just really cool.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Those are some great pieces. How many of the Snoop Kobe jacket are out there?
Oh, that's his personal one. So that's just the only one that's out there that he wore. That was Kobe. I think Jeff probably made. Let me see if they have. So Jeff is the greatest I guess leather jacket designer of all time. So you can see the inside.
That is
handmade,
the coolest jacket. That's the coolest jacket I've ever seen.
It really is. And I mean, Jeff is a legend in and of itself. You can see Snoop wore it. There's actually a rip on the bottom. That's why I think stopped wearing it. But yeah, you can see June 2001. So yeah, really iconic, cool item, especially because everybody remembers Kobe in that, and Kobe's Snoop, like the provenance of that. Not only would it be cool, even I think there's probably only a handful of these in the world. The fact that it was Snoop's is so cool. I mean, Kobe's would obviously be the top notch, but I think Snoop's is pretty cool too.
So cool. I love that. All right, last item here. This I just think is hilarious. I am a Warren Buffett fan.
I've seen you post this. I actually love this.
Legend. This is a letter from a pastor writing to Warren Buffett asking for a signature. He actually asked for a signed photo.
So
and
cool.
It begs the question, what does a pastor need with Warren Buffett's signature? Maybe he was trying to raise some money, I don't know. But Buffett replied, don't have a photograph, but here's a signature, and then gave it a nice Warren E. Buffett. Really,
That's so cool.
You could tell he tried to give him a 10. And that is that from, it's either,
so cool.
actually, I don't know which it is. It's either from the year 2000 or 2008. because the number is kind of unclear. I think it's 2000, but there you go. That's my final in the final five.
I love it. And I think it's great, right? Like I'm a huge fan of pop culture memorabilia. I think it's very undervalued. I think, everybody's looked at sports all these years, but when you look at musicians, people like Warren Buffett, they're arguably as, if not oftentimes more famous than a lot of these athletes. And also it's rarer to get these items because sports, like it's a business in sports and these other sectors, it's not there. And there's just so many cool pieces that tell stories like that. And the story behind it makes it that much cooler. So man, you crushed it with that, Buster.
It's so funny, like with athletes, let's take LeBron James, right? Plays at least 82 games a year, is at least 82 games a year for 23 years, plus preseason, postseason, Olympics, camps, Nike events, other sponsor events, his own company events. I mean, that is thousands of times where LeBron signed things for fans, did things. He has his own upper deck deals and Fanatics deals, and those signatures and pieces are incredible. But what I would really want are game worn LeBrons, the things that are one of one from iconic events, the jackets, or the guys who were not at thousands of events. Warren Buffett is not out here shaking hands with everybody. Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates and Rockefeller and Steve Jobs and, Mark Zuckerberg and these iconic figures that are so one of one as opposed to, some athletes which are, one of 30.
Yeah. And I think what's interesting with that too, you look at historically, you look at art, you look at collectibles, the value is based on provenance because these guys aren't signing officially, right? Like there's not an MLB witness-based program that's watching them sign that, and there's authentication. You can send it for like letters of opinion and those things, and there's some PSA obviously does a great job, but like there's just not as many out there. The provenance is so tough on a lot of these things. So the few things that pass that smell test and get through the top one, I think are going to be even wildly more valuable just because of the, again, supply and demand. There's not much supply. There's a ton of autograph. Any player, LeBron. If you want a LeBron auto, you can find. He's probably signed 1 million autographs in his life. Same with Jordan.
Sure.
Right? It's like they're out there. Warren Buffett, and especially getting one that's legit and validated. Like I guarantee you, the Pop Report, if they had one, is so low.
Yeah, those one of one. But then it's like it's so interesting because you look at people like Michael Jordan or LeBron James or Kobe, like the goats of basketball, for example. Their best items are so incredible. Like, oh my God. I mean, a Jordan jersey sold for $10 million. There's a Jordan jersey out there that Michael owns that I think is worth $250 million.
Which jersey?
Game 6, 98.
Wow, that's wild. Hey,
Michael owns it. I know he owns it.
That's great.
I don't know if he'll ever sell it, but I think that is on par with the Da Vinci. I think it's right there, if not better.
I agree. I think, like, especially for this generation, like, we didn't grow up idolizing Picasso and stuff. We didn't, like, we know the value and it's there, and I don't want to do those things. But, like, for me, from an eye appeal standpoint, not from investment, not taking into that stuff, I'd rather have something that I can relate to and tell a story and that, like, is much more historic to the average person. Game 6 of the 98 finals and the shot is far cooler than some painting on a wall from somebody that you've just heard of because it's valuable for the sake of being valuable. Not to take anything away, like I love art and do those things, but I just think, like, when you compare them, I think there's so much room for growth in this category, which is why we're all here. And it's fun. It's a lot funner too, right?
It's so much fun. It's like, and the last thing I'll say here is, like, if I couldn't sell a Picasso and I couldn't sell this, I would rather own this because it is my childhood. And for you, that's something else. For someone else, that's something else. But it just, exactly. You would rather
not the
own
most
that.
valuable. Like, my favorite things are not, like, I have some things that are really valuable. This isn't, like, I mean, it's valuable, but it's not a $100,000 item.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Mantle, right there. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you guys. Always a pleasure, Buster. Shout out to the whole Mantle team. I love what you guys are doing and everybody in the community. I got to start posting more there. I've just been so busy, but I'll be back soon. I'm
Get
watching.
active. Get active. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye.